Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a commentary for you about SATCOM myths and Christmas myths. I saw a SATCOM myth on Reddit and I put it to the test, hardcore style, not hardcore gameplay, but I really legitimately tried to make it work, and I'm going to show you my results in the gameplay. That's what we have going on here. Even though I got shot in the face in the beginning, I did end up doing very good. I'm playing with FaZe, Cross, J-Hub, and @Lordo, but the SATCOM myth won't take too long to discuss, and I had some good gameplay, so I figured after that we'll talk about some myths about the holiday of Christmas, because I'm getting a lot of that in my inbox, a lot of war on Christmas, Christmas isn't real, Christmas was and was not based on this and is being changed to that, and atheist, Christian, blah 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 arguing, so I thought it'd be an interesting topic to discuss. Anyway, while I'm playing here, what we're doing is each one of the people on our team, me, FaZe, Cross, J-Hub, and @Lordo, we're all running support streaks. Actually, I think Cross might be running assault, but we only equipped the SATCOM. There was a video posted on Reddit by a YouTuber commentator. His name is Arcteonic. That's the channel name. I can't spell it for the life of me, but I'll link it down there in the description. And he advised you to run hardline and only equip the SATCOM so that you'll cycle back to the SATCOM super fast. And as long as you play hard enough and do decent, you should get up enough streaks either through your assault, because it only takes 2 kills with hardline, or support for 3 kills, that you'll have almost an infinite, like, what's it called? Not UAV, not Blackbird, advanced UAV, like all the time, just running it. And that was the perception that he gave off in the video, even though if he didn't say it. And unfortunately, that just wasn't true. I had 4 people running this just constantly, and we did have really good SATCOM coverage. I mean, there was pretty much almost never a time in this game where we did not have a SATCOM going, or a, the sweeping SATCOM, the UAV, not the spotting kind, because the first SATCOM, just whenever you spot an enemy, it tags them. The second time sweeps, the third SATCOM sweeps faster, and the fourth one you get the advanced UAV effect where you can see where they're going and what they're looking at and stuff. But we just couldn't get them stacking fast enough. Now, we had great SATCOM coverage, but we had very minimal advanced UAV coverage, and the amount of effort that it took to get this to work, I would say, is not worth it. I did this by myself at first, and I pretty much got nothing going on other than a lot of SATCOMs, which my team, of course, didn't appreciate very much. It's Call of Duty, mind you. And then I did it with J-Hub, and we struggled a bit, and again, we didn't get a whole lot going on between the two of us dropping SATCOMs. So we pulled in Cross and Lord, and we had 4 people running SATCOMs in ground war, going and killing about as hard as we could, and just dropping them. And you'll see that up there comes our advanced one. We do get more than normal. We do have really good coverage, but it's just not as OP spammy as what I had imagined. I imagined it would just be constant, advanced UAV, and it would always be going, but that's not the case. It unfortunately didn't. I mean, I wish it worked, and I had something really cool to show you, but it didn't. Anyway, I'm going to link you to his original video. You can check out his results. Maybe they differ from mine. Maybe I just don't kill people fast enough, but that's how it worked, and I'll call this a sort of myth busted, that just equipping the SATCOM is the best way to go, because you can spam them and get, advanced UAV really fast. I definitely feel that we would have been playing stronger if we had ballistic vests and oracles and ammo boxes and, other sort of streaks, or even some assault streaks, mind you, would have been really nice. Actually, @Lordo, I believe, stole a Juggernaut at one point, and it was a Maniac Juggernaut. He did really good just stalking people and stabbing them with it because we had such good SATCOM coverage. And for the rest of the commentary, I'd like to change the topic to Christmas myths, or the war on Christmas, as you would call it. This usually shows up about around this time of the year in a couple of different places. You'll see them in some religious organizations and on the news when they need to use that sort of fear component to scare people. But there is apparently a war on Christmas. It's a culture war. It's an us versus them war. It's a war of Christians versus atheists, or Christians versus New Age Christians, or we'll say like Catholic versus Protestant, all this sort of stuff. And I really don't think much of it. Some of the other stuff that goes around is that, oh, Christmas is a pagan holiday and it was adapted for our use, or it was and it wasn't, and, oh, Santa Claus is white now, well, he used to be black because St. Nicholas was black, and this sort of deal. And I personally find this to be very silly. I find it silly that people believe that there is a threat to the holiday of Christmas. It is the biggest holiday in the entire year globally. I'll say that the United States still has the biggest economy globally, and probably about, I think it's, well, for retail and commercial and just consumable goods, I think it's a quarter of all sales have something to do with our holiday season, or largely our Christmas season, and our expenditures and that sort of stuff. And that's a huge, mega driver in our economy. Christmas is celebrated in China, which, if I'm not mistaken, is still officially an atheist state. They even celebrate Christmas in a lot of Arabic countries just because gift giving is fun. So I don't feel this holiday is particularly threatened, at least not the gift giving part. The religious part may be somewhat threatened by commercialism, consumerism, materialism, those sort of things. But anyway, let's get on to the Christmas myths. And number one is that people like to say that Christmas was originally a pagan holiday. And I will say that this is probably true. Christians did celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ independently of the pagan holidays, but the main one that we're talking about is Saturnalia, which is a Greek-Roman holiday that celebrates the god Saturn, and it was a really crazy kind of lawless holiday. The courts didn't run at the time. There were certain immunities on small crimes. There was a veiled changing of roles between master and slave. There was gift giving. There was lots of drinks. Oftentimes, sex, male on male, because that was common at the time. Like men doing each other was not necessarily viewed as feminine as it is now. And it was a weird holiday, but it was extremely popular. It was the most popular holiday in the Greco-Roman calendar. Mostly Roman. They really went pretty hard on it. And the gift giving also had to do with sort of the Romans kind of punishing their less desirable citizens by forcing them to give gifts and that sort of thing. But then it became adopted into a larger, have a party, give gifts, have fun, because their society, well, more primitive in some ways, is similar to ours in the production and what it was a fun thing. It was a good thing, but the church really didn't like this. This flew in the face of all Christian values, and even though Christianity had spread through the Roman Empire such that it became the Holy Roman Empire for a very long time, a lot of people in the empire, informally and just kind of around in the pagan regions, still celebrated Saturnalia the same way it had always been celebrated. So they very cleverly cleaned up the holiday, and they changed some of the meanings behind some of the things, to the gifts being the gifts of the Magi's and other sort of things, to fit the Christian tradition, and it became what we would now call Christmas. Christmas had its own celebration before, but it kind of sucked in elements of this. And we've got other things like the Christmas tree was a pagan thing that was sort of people back in the day didn't necessarily understand why what we would call evergreen trees stayed green in the wintertime. They just totally didn't get it. Like, why doesn't this tree turn brown and die like all the other trees? As they thought they were magical, they were powerful, so they'd cut them down and bring them home and decorate them and that sort of stuff, which is kind of how we have our tree now. The mistletoe, if you want to read the history of the mistletoe, it's a really weird one. It has to do with the god Boulder and druids, and it has a very sexual fertility kind of meaning to it, which is why we kiss people under the mistletoe now. But all of these things got sucked in and kind of absorbed in our idea of Christmas. And one of the funnier ones I've seen recently is that, St. Nicholas was black, and that it's bad to have a white Santa Claus, or that if you change the color of Santa, that's particularly bad. St. Nicholas was, if I'm not mistaken, recently sainted, 19th century or so, and he came from Turkey. He traveled a lot, and he was more popular in regions outside of Turkey for pretty obvious reasons. But he was probably a darker-skinned Arab kind of guy. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he was a lighter-skinned Arab. Maybe he was a white guy. Turkey was a huge trading hub. He could have really been anything. But Santa Claus is an imaginary character made for children. Back in the day, they used to have white Santa and black Santa, depending on the audience. They have, in China and Japan, they have Chinese and Japanese Santa. I'm sure, and I don't know much about the Arabic countries. I don't keep up on the, the Santa Clauses these days, but I wouldn't be surprised if in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, they had Arab Santa. That's just kind of how it goes. It's an imaginary character for children, so they generally make it the same color as the children, whichever one they're comfortable for, to make the children more comfortable. And that if you spend all of your days worrying about the ethnicity of Santa and, teaching your children about flying magical reindeer and stuff, you're probably worrying too much. I would tell you to just kick back, relax, spend time with your family. If you're a non-believer, if you're an atheist, just give presents and enjoy the silliness. If you're a religious person, then you should reflect upon the nature of the birth of your Savior, or however it is that you choose to celebrate this holiday. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.